If you have a Japanese kitchen knife, you know it's awesome, but you also need a great cutting board. Your knife deserves one. We're gonna talk about why, how to take care of it, and what they're good for, how to find a good one. The cutting board can be the biggest culprit in dulling your knife, especially if the material is too hard. So countertops, they're way too hard. You don't want to damage them. If you got a steel countertop or a quartz countertop, any kind of stone, that's really going to kill the edge on your knife. You don't want to do that. A glass cutting board is absolutely out of the question. It's a complete oxymoron. Put hot things on it to not melt your countertop. Go for it, but don't cut on it. We like wood. Wood is fantastic. End grain wood like this, where you can see the rings of the wood, is really our favorite. It doesn't scar up as bad as the edge grain wood, which is also acceptable. Our favorite is the Larchwood Cutting Board. They're made in Canada, sustainably produced, and fantastic. They really last a long time, provided you take care of them. They've got some rubber feet on the bottom here, so when you're cutting, it's not slipping around, which is a really important thing. It's a safety factor. You don't want to be trying to cut a moving target. That moving target is likely to end up being your fingers if you do that. I've got my really nice wood cutting board here, and I want to keep it clean for obvious reasons. I'm preparing food. It's got to be nice and clean. I don't want to put it in a dishwasher. I don't want to put it in a sink filled with water and soak it. That's really going to damage the wood. The board's going to fall apart, and that's not what you want. The easiest way to clean it, I find, a couple things I do. If I'm just sort of in between different jobs, I just spray it with a bit of vinegar water and then wipe it down. If I've got something a little bit more kind of stuck to the board, I'll use my food scoop that's got a nice straight metal edge. And I can use that to scrape stuff off the board if anything's really stuck to it. Now, after a bit of time, you might feel like the board's absorbing some odors, especially if you cut a lot of garlic on it. Then what I do simply, and this is straight from what the guys at Larchwood told us to do, is I just take a bit of a lemon, right? And then put some salt on the board as an abrasive. And then I just take the lemon, give it a little bit of squeeze to get some of the juice out. And so the lemon juice, the acidity, plus the abrasiveness of the salt really help to suck up any sort of odors that are inside of your board, and you can just scrub it around, and that'll help pull up any flavors. Then I would go back, give it another squirt, and just wipe it down. Using baking soda on the wood can actually change the color of the wood. It makes it turn bluish or purplish, which is kind of unsightly, so stay away from trying to use baking soda on the board. After a bit of time, maybe a bit of abuse, we're all guilty sometimes of letting things go a little bit further than we're supposed to. Just like that, we got a cutting board here. It's been used a little heavily and it hasn't been treated very nicely. But I'm gonna show you a couple ways to sort of bring it back. What you're gonna wanna use on a regular basis is something like this, a board wax made out of beeswax and mineral oil. It's just a little paste. You just rub it onto the wood of the board. It absorbs in. I usually leave it overnight, buff it out in the morning, and that's going to treat the board. It's going to keep it hydrated. It's actually going to keep it from absorbing too many of those flavors, and it's going to take care of the wood. It's not going to crack as easily. Your cutting board will last a longer time. I also like using up my wood handles, wooden spoons, random stuff around my kitchen. Food safe because it's beeswax and mineral oil. This board's a little bit overdue for just the basic beeswax treatment. We all leave stuff a little too long sometimes. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna put some mineral oil directly on this patch here. That patch, that's where I do most of the cutting. And as I've been cutting, it's just sort of been drawing some of the moisture that's in the board out of it because of whatever it is I'm cutting. And you can see that's that spot there, but I'm gonna treat the whole surface. So I'm just gonna take a bit of this mineral oil here and just pour a bit on and rub it around with my hand. Mineral oil is nice because it's going to absorb deeply into the wood, really hydrate it up again. But it's not going to last as long. It's not as solid. It doesn't solidify, which is why we like that sort of beeswax combo, because afterwards, once this is all absorbed, I'll rub in some of the beeswax and that'll give it a bit of more of a seal to the wood. You can see already how the oil is sucking into the wood here. So I'll let it sit overnight, wipe it off in the morning, and then apply some beeswax. So I let my board sit for a little while. I've wiped off any excess mineral oil. I can still see slightly, there's a bit of a dryness to the middle, but I want to treat it with this beeswax anyway because I want to get that wood sealed up a little bit better. So I just take some out with my fingers and just rub it into the board. This is something that you should do frequently when your board is new. If you're cutting a lot, you're gonna wanna do it a little bit more often. As your board gets more and more beeswax rubbed into it, you'll need to do it less and less. But on occasion, you're gonna wanna make sure you do the sides and the bottom as well. That's gonna keep the bottom wood from cracking too, which might warp the board. The next morning, I'll wipe this off with a bit of paper towel and you're good to go. You need to pick up some beeswax, come to one of our stores. They're in Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, and Vancouver. Knifewear.com is a great place to go as well. If you need assistance, hit the little bottom corner button there. You can talk to somebody online or email us at hello@knifewear.com. Thanks for watching the video today. Leave comments below, tell us what you think, and subscribe. We love subscribers. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all sorts of places. Even follow us by signing up to our newsletter on our website. You won't miss out on anything. Thanks so much. Have a great day.